Hello everybody and thank you for joining me. This is Sierra from Sierra T Designs, and today I have this really pretty alcohol ink birthday card for you. So let's jump in. So I did take a full sheet of Yupo paper, which is 5 by 7. Originally I was going to cut this down, but because I liked the panel so much, I ended up making a 5 by 7 card, which is really rare for me. So you saw there that I put a little bit of blending solution down on my Yupo paper, and then I'm going to bring in a couple of colors. I have two pinks and then Gilded, which is a gold alloy. So I have the blending solution. I also have Raspberry, Enchanted, and Gilded, which is an alloy, and Enchanted is a pearl. So I'm going to kind of work between the blending solution, some 99% alcohol, and the colors, and the air blower, of course, to kind of move them around. Blending solution will help blend your colors together, but the isopropyl alcohol actually helps them move on the cardstock, or in this case, Yupo paper. So it's a bit of a process, and I find that you kind of have to be a bit open-minded about it for alcohol inks, at least me personally. I kind of just play with them, and I have a tendency towards an angular lay of colors. Like, as you can see, I'm starting on the left top corner and then ending on the right bottom corner, and that kind of helps me get a better design that I enjoy. So I mean, whatever you prefer, there's no wrong way to do this. It's all preference based. But every time that I want colors to kind of blend together, I add a little more blending solution and kind of blow it around. And then any time that I feel like I'm not getting very much movement from my colors, I will go back in with that mister bottle of isopropyl alcohol. I'm not even sure if I'm saying that correctly, but yeah, I just have a mister bottle full of it, and then I just spray it on when I want a little bit more movement from my colors. So I only have 2 colors of pink right now, and I haven't even brought in the gold yet. I kind of wanted to build up what I wanted from my pinks first, and you guys know that I love pink and gold together. They're one of my favorite color blends, or I don't even know really think it's a blend, but they're one of my favorite colors together. So that's the Gilded there. I just brought it in, and I kind of got to work it around a bit. And then I'll add more pink anywhere that it kind of, because the blending solution is going to push it, it kind of pushed it. So this is really like a bit of a process. And I find that sadly the gold on camera always looks brown instead of gold. Although pink and brown can look stunning together too, as Tim Holtz told us with Kitsch. So I hopefully I'll have Kitsch in my hands here pretty quick. Actually, I think I'll have it in my hands today, but when you guys see this video. But I really love pink and gold, and I think that if you're ever stuck for a good color combination, those are one of them. Or like blue and purple and silver, or anything like that. I kind of think that they really go well together. So you can see that I keep working it in, and I opened a new bottle of blending solution because my other one was running out. But I kind of just drop in whatever I feel is kind of lacking there. And you're going to see that I make a bit of a mess. I have speckles of color everywhere, and I'm going to show you later how I clean that up. So I think this air blower is super useful. Make sure you use this stuff in a well-ventilated area. I'm really bad for that because I just have my little office, and it's winter here, so I don't have the tendency to open the windows because it's pretty cold. But I kind of just keep working it and blending around. You have to kind of watch the alloys because they like to go back together. You'll add a little bit and then they kind of join back together, and then you kind of have to break them up a bit more vigorously, for lack of a better term. But once I kind of get what I like in my blend, I'll take my blending solution and just put it around the edges to kind of have a bit of a softer edge, or a bit more of a kind of streamer-esque look. That's not really the right word, but I kind of just like to have it be a bit more whimsy, a little bit more whimsical on the edges, and then kind of break up my color there. And once I'm kind of finished with what I want it to be, I'm going to hold it up here for you so you can kind of see the gold in there. And you can see that it's still wet. So I'm going to bring in, this is just some Deco foil, this is gold foil, and I'm just going to lay it down on the areas that are still wet, because it picks up beautifully. And the top was a little bit more dry than the bottom was, just because I had still been working the bottom. So you're going to see that there's a bit more gold that attaches onto the bottom than the top, but I really just wanted a bit of this kind of gold in there because it kind of almost looks like it's marbled, if that makes sense. Like it, once I hold it up in the light here, once I kind of get it on, you'll see, but there's a little more gold in the bottom than there's on the top, but I don't mind. It's an abstract piece of art, really. It's just I think it's quite pretty. So I decided to leave this as a 5x7 because I was so crazy in love, but I wanted to take off a little bit. So I made a 5x7 base out of some Simon Says Stamp cotton candy cardstock. And then because the panel is also 5x7, you wouldn't be able to see the pink cardstock with it, so I did opt to trim down a little bit off of my base. And I started out with 1/8 of an inch, and then I end up taking a smidge more off because, and I'm lost the footage for it, but I'll show you guys in the end what I kind of did. But my sentiment smudged pretty bad when I stamped it on the Yupo. I struggled to stamp on Yupo. I even used an archival ink, but it still smudged, which is my fault. But I didn't like how it looked. So I'm going to show you how I fix that here in a little while. But I did come in and trim off a little bit more, so I think it ended up being about 1/4 of an inch in the end on the front there. So I did do that. And then here I'm going to show you how I cleaned up those extra speckles. So this is still my 99% isopropyl alcohol, and I've got a little cotton swabber, and I've just dipped it in there, and I'm kind of just rubbing it over top of those extra drips because I wanted my sentiment to go here, and I didn't, like, there was all these drips, and generally I leave them, but I kind of wanted this to be a bit more elegant, so I opted to kind of rub them off where they were, and it worked beautifully. However, I'm pretty sure this is what caused my sentiment to bleed. And I'm going to show you my sentiment here in a second, and it just looks not good. So I'm going to show you what I opted to do to fix it. And I think it still turned out really beautiful. I think that this card is stunning. It's probably one of my favorite birthday cards that I've created. I don't generally go for elegant cards, just it's not usually in my style, but I was really trying with this one. You guys will have to let me know if I kind of hit that mark or not. So there you can see I kind of cleaned it up, and then I'm going to move on to here. So you see here, you see it smudged. So I'm going to use the exact same sentiment. This sentiment is from Simon Says Stamp's Sketched Flowers stamp set, and I brought in my Delicata ink, this golden glitz ink, and I'm just stamping it out on the exact same cotton candy cardstock that I used for the background of the card. And I'm just going to stamp it out. And I chose to use my Misti for this just because you could use a block. You don't need to use the Misti for this. I just chose to because I was trying really hard to be delicate with how I push down because it's a kind of a more delicate sentiment. So then I brought in my trimmer, and I'm going to trim it down to be a bit of a, like a little, well, it's a rectangle. And then I'm going to, and I lost the footage for this, so sorry, but I did take a piece of Concord 9th's neutral foil pack, and I brought in a piece of gold of their foil pack. So here you can see, like, I'm kind of laid it out, and I'm thinking about it, and I don't quite like how it looks. So to make it a little more elegant, I brought in a piece of gold cardstock, and I just added a very thin border. I think it's like a 1/16 inch border to this, and then I glued everything down. So here you can see that there's a gold border on both of the card, like the alcohol ink piece and the sentiment, and I think that's really tied it together. But I would love to know what you guys think. So that is the card I have to share with you guys this week. I would love if you'd leave me a comment, leave me a like, let me know what you think, and I'd love if you'd consider subscribing. I have a new video every Monday, and there's a couple of added things coming up. So thank you so much, guys, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye for now.